All right, today we're going to talk about the different types of lotteries that are out there and which ones are illegal in New York State. Stick around and find out. Okay, the first type of lottery is where you get free tickets. This is the most common lottery. The first lottery that Deb and I ever went to was at Cordeliers. Janine runs a great store and has a great lottery. You go in and you sign up and you put your name on a list and you get one ticket, one entry. I usually bring Deb, myself, my mother, her husband, and sometimes Deb's father. So we get 4 or 5 entries in. There is no purchase necessary for these. These are free tickets. But usually, don't be that guy. Buy something, right? I mean, especially if you're gonna bring that many people there, buy a bottle, even if it's a cheap bottle of wine. So then, what Janine does is she has the drawing live on Facebook, and she has an ordered list of bottles. How many ever there are, 25, 30, 50, I don't know. I don't remember. And the first bottle, let's say it's Blanton's. She'll pick a name. That person wins the Blanton's. Okay? So it's just an ordered list. I think I've been in this lottery 3 times, and I've won an E.H. Taylor single barrel and a Blanton's. You can't win all the time. Another place that has an awesome lottery, and I've been to that one twice also within the same year, is Key Liquors, and I do have a video for that. And again, you go in, you sign up for free, and you get one entry. And again, I bring the same people and buy something, right? Even though it's free, buy something. Don't be cheap. Well, I'm a little bit cheap. They have it a little different. They don't pick it live. They pick the names. And then if you're pick number 1, they'll assign you time slots based on where you're picking. Pick number 1, pick number 2, pick number 3. And you go at that time slot. And if you're pick number 1, you get your choice of any of the bottles that you want off the table, and so on and so forth. Over the summer or earlier in the fall, I got Heaven Hill 20. I was pick number 2. The guy ahead of me picked a Stag. And if you watch the recent video, we got a cellar aged and a backup Michter's Toasted Rye. Okay, so that's a really nice event. It's kind of like you just get your choice. Okay. A third type, Bourbon Palooza we went to, Wine World. And I have a video for this, and we paid $50 each to go to an event. Excellent food, free samples, and you didn't have to go to the event, though, to be entered in their allocated lottery. People don't know, if you go to the store, they'll have a little flyer there, sign up. They just don't advertise that. They advertise the event. They want you to go to the event and, experience all the liquor and food and so on and so forth. But it is a free lottery. They just don't advertise it as such, saying, hey, come in and get it. They advertise the event. Anyways, when you're there, you list off the top 5 bottles that you want. And if you're called, you get one of those bottles. If those 5 bottles are gone, then it's a little more arduous of a process. They would have to get a hold of you and say, hey, this is what we have left. I won an Old Rip, and for the life of me, I can't remember it. I'd have to go back and ask Deb, but I won an Old Rip. That's good enough. I won an Old Rip there just a few weeks ago. That was pretty awesome. And some of my friends won some other stuff too. Joey's dad won a Blanton's Gold. Friend Paula won the Angels Envy cast strength bourbon. So those are different ways to run it, and all these are free entries, right? Now, I'm going to mention another one, and this is where the legal issues come in. I'm not going to name names, okay? But I went to this lottery for the first time last year. I skipped it the year before. I don't know why. And it was a little confusing at first. I didn't understand, right? Your receipt was your entry into the lottery. Now, the way they worded it, I wasn't too sure. Do you have to buy something, or, because it said free entry. So, I went there, clarified it. You can buy something and put your receipt in there, or you can get a blank receipt and put it in there. Okay. So again, took the crew, and for this particular one, mine were all free ones. I know you're going to be like, you're such a jerk, right? I ended up winning a Lot B and a stag. And I went to this. The drawing is live, and they, again, broadcast it on Facebook. But I went to this one, and I had a blast. It was me and maybe a dozen or so other people. It's probably still on their Facebook page. And I was cracking jokes, and I was the life of the party. And you're like, you? Yeah, I was. We were having a blast. And like I said, I won the Lot B and the stag. So the Lot B I walked away with because that was actually under my name. And then my mother, I had to bring her back, even though it was my mother. So he was busting my chops, calling me the guy with the free ticket, right? Go downstairs and we're talking with him. I'm like, listen, because he's just giving me a hard time. Listen, there's a time frame that you have to get these tickets. And I had bought a Fable and Folly just before that time frame, and then shortly after that time frame, I had bought their store pick for Penelope Toasted. So it's not like I'm not buying anything there. I just didn't buy anything in that time frame. I was like a few days ahead, a few days after. And I'm telling him this, and he's like, I'm just messing with you, and so on and so forth. So I bring my mom in, and she got her bottle. And I was in his store a few times after that. Like I said, I was in afterwards to get the Penelope Toasted, and I was talking to the owner. And I asked him about the, the free ticket and the receipt. And he goes, and this is where the legality issues. He goes, we used to just charge people, they had to buy a bottle to get a ticket. And then they were entered into the allocated raffle. Turns out that's illegal in New York State. Okay, it's either, I don't think it's through the liquor laws, I think it's through the gaming commission. You can't, the gambling, you can't do that. Okay, because I don't want to misspeak on why it's illegal. But it's gambling. Then you're charging people for a chance to win, and that changes the whole dynamic instead of getting a free ticket. So he had to switch it to you can buy something and put your receipt in there, or you can get a free receipt. Now, same thing happened again this year. I went in to buy something, and I was talking to him, and he doesn't, the way he's worded it this year is a little slicker. It's kind of like you can put your receipt in the bin for an entry into our allocated lottery. He doesn't say you have to buy one, right? And he's not advertising that you don't have to buy one, but he's not telling you have to buy one. So it's kind of slick like that, You know, I kind of like that. But I know through conversations with them that that has to happen. My buddy Joey K was there for like a pre-drop, and he was getting his tickets for the big allocated, the Pappies and the BTAC, you know. And I'm like, hey, when you're there, you know, he bought a bottle, but, you know, if your wife's there, you can get a free one for her. And he did. And then I brought in my wife and my mom and her husband. I bought a bottle of James Pepper. Delicious, by the way. Fabulous. And, you know, they got the free ones. So it's there. They just don't say, hey, this is the way it is, right? But it's illegal in New York State to charge people, make them buy a bottle in order to get entered into a lottery. I've had numerous owners tell me this specific owner, why would he lie about that? And I've seen emails from the ABC. I can't tell you how, right? I'm not going to reveal this. People tell me stuff in confidence, okay? Then there's another type that people have events. And they have lotteries at these events. And they have tastings there. Noble Root I went to, and Grand Wine and Spirits, they both do it. You go in, they'll have tastings there. It's kind of like a Chinese auction, though, which is cool. And, oh, by the way, the other one, kind of run like Cordeliers. This bottle, pick your name, you win that bottle, okay? But over here, the Chinese auction is cool. You go in, you get X amount of tickets, you put them in the bottles that you're interested in, and then they pick in from that bag, and if your name's called, you win that bottle. So I thought that was interesting. Okay, so those are where you get the free tickets. There is a cool one. John at Attica runs it, where you have to buy a bottle. Now you're going to say, dude, you just told us it's illegal to do that. It's illegal to have them make you buy a bottle to get into an allocated lottery where you have a chance to win a bottle. Okay? What John does is say he has 80 bottles, he'll sell 60 tickets. But in order to get a ticket, you have to buy a bottle. So you're not buying a bottle for a chance to win a bottle, an allocated bottle. You are going to get one. You just don't know what one it is. So that's the difference. Those are the different types of lotteries we have. And I'd like to know what type of lotteries that you have in your state, or maybe a different part of New York State, and if there are some things that are legal or illegal there. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was a little bit informative, especially if you live in New York State. By the way, I'm recovering from a cold, and unfortunately, Deb, I think she's getting it. So it's going to be a while before we start tasting again. Merry Christmas, and go Bills. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button, leave a comment below, and subscribe to our station.